Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to watch today's video. And guys, today we're going to be talking about finesse jigs once again, and I want to talk about and explain why finesse jigs are so good at this time of year. Time of filming this video, guys, we're at the end of October. We're getting into what I consider the prime time of year to fish a finesse jig. I think the months of November and December are probably the top 2 months to fish a finesse jig. I want to explain why in today's video and give you guys some tips and advice on the jigs and the type of areas to fish them. So we'll get into that in today's episode. Also, guys, real quick, anybody interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, man, just go to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat, Professional Angler. Shoot me a private message for details, get you guys set up. And also, guys, in preparation for wintertime coming up, I'd like to invite you to please swing by and check out my Fish the Moment Lake Map breakdowns, the breakdowns I build for the fishthemoment.com website. Great resources to get you guys some good fishing spots coming up this winter. So I'll have that link in the description and really appreciate that. Okay, guys, first of all, quick plug. We're going to be talking about finesse jigs, and this is my new Blaukat Power Finesse Throwback jig from Cumberland Pro Lures. We designed this thing. We just came out with it last month. I've been working on it with them for over a year. It's got living rubber frog hair on it. Now the frog hair is what you want. You want a living rubber finesse jig. Most of them are silicone on the market. This is one of the few that has living rubber. Living rubber is a superior material for finesse jigs, just the way it looks in the water. The action of it, the way it glows in the water, different than silicone. So I'll put my Blaukat Power Finesse Throwback jig in the Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to order some. But I'm really proud of this jig, guys. We worked on every detail of it, from the hook, the head, the keeper, the skirt, hand-tied skirt. It's just an awesome jig there. Okay, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the finesse jig and why it works so good this time of year. To be honest with you, I don't know. I'm just gonna straight up and say I don't know, because I fish jigs a lot. And I fish every type of jig you can imagine. I fish the full-size jig, I fish a football head jig, finesse jigs. I fished them for 50 years. And I always talk about on the channel here, bass get into certain moods and personalities based upon the month of the year. And for whatever reason, it's one of those mysterious things in bass fishing. They like a small finesse jig in the months of November and December better than any other type of jig profile. Might have something to do with the size of the crawdads. I'm not sure what it is, water temperature, but I do know that they really, really like it. And another thing with the finesse jig here, guys, most of the time you want some type of a brown or green pumpkin. We got 6 different colors in my throwback jigs. This is one of my favorites, guys, here, either a brown with purple or green with purple. Works really good in the fall time of the year, as does brown and orange. So that's a good thing about colors there. Hold on, guys. My wife is texting me here. I gotta get this text. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, sorry about that, but that's what you get here with Advanced Bass Fishing. It's just a laid back, really rough around the edges channel. So I had to take care of some business there. So appreciate it, and we'll get back to the video here. But anyway, guys, like I was saying, some type of a brown or green, you can't go wrong with that. And most all the time, I use some type of a green pumpkin trailer, almost all the time. This is a Zoom Super Chunk Junior, probably my favorite trailer for it, but occasionally I'll use a twin tail. I might use a little critter cross sometimes, but this is my favorite, just the old school green pumpkin. A lot of times I'll dye the pinchers. I'll put a little bit of orange or chartreuse on the pinchers. Sometimes that helps out, but this is my setup right here. And also, I like to trim the skirt back. I got it trimmed here a little bit. I want about at least half of the trailer showing here. And I want to, when you trim the skirt, guys, make sure that you trim it with some sharp scissors, and don't just cut it even. Try to make it where, see how some of the strands there are different lengths? That's really important as far as to get the best lifelike action out of the jig. And I use all 3 sizes, 1/4 ounce, 3/8, and 1/2 ounce, depending upon the water depth. If I'm fishing water like deeper than 10 or 15 feet, I'll go with the 1/2 ounce size. If I'm fishing sort of in that 5 to 10 foot range, I might go to the 3/8. And if I'm in shallow water, like less than 5 feet, I go to the 1/4 a lot. So you really need all 3 sizes there. So that's the jig setup. Now for the finesse jig technique that we're talking about specifically in the fall time of the year, this is a technique where we're casting the jig. We're not really fishing it and pitching it around heavier cover. The Power Finesse jig that I got here, guys, it's got a stiff hook in it, so you can put it on 20-pound line and pitch it into lay down trees or around docks. But the technique I want to talk about today, most of the time I use 12 to 15 pound test Seaguar and Vizex fluorocarbon, 7'2" medium heavy bait cast rod. I use that Megabass Perfect pitch, and that's my setup with the finesse jigs. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the areas you want to work it in, because this is really critical for this time of year. There is one specific structure that is going to be your number one type of place to fish a finesse jig in November and December, and that is a steep rocky bank. Steep rocky banks that have access to deep water next to them are the best places to fish. A lot of crawdad, anytime that you've got some type of a rocky bank with a steep angle on it, you have a lot of crawdads living in there. And this time of year, bass really like steep rocky banks because it offers them an ability to move shallow and deep extremely quickly. And with the combination of the water level, the water temperature, the water clarity that's usually associated in the fall time of the year, which is normally the water is a little bit cleaner, it's a little bit lower. They really like that steeper structure. So concentrate on your bluffs, your channel banks, steep channel banks where the water's deep next to it. Riprap banks are really good. A steep riprap bank can be really good. But my favorite type of structure probably is a bluff bank. Some type of a bluff, not like a sheer wall bluff bank, but you know how some bluff banks, they have a vertical wall and they have some boulders that are broken up or mixed around it. Prime example would be the Ozark Lakes here, or say if you guys fish Smith Lake in Alabama, like up in the river at Smith Lake, there's a lot of bluffs like that that have like there's been some collapsing of the rock off the bluff. Those are perfect places for a finesse jig in November and December. But most of the time, I'm casting this finesse jig on those rocky banks, the steep rocky banks and bluffs, and I'm working it down depending upon the water clarity. And here's my rule of thumb for water clarity. If the water clarity is like less than 2 foot of visibility, most of the time I'm fishing the 1/4 ounce jig. I'm pitching that jig right up to the bank and working it down into about 4 or 5 foot of water if you have off-colored water. That water visibility is sort of in that 2 to 3 foot range, which is normal in a lot of lakes. You're gonna have that 5 to 10 foot zone. So I'll cast the finesse jig, maybe a few foot from the bank, and I'll work it, down into what I think is about 10 foot of water. And if the water visibility is clear, like over 4 foot of visibility, or if you have a lake that has a mixed population of bass, like largemouth, spotted bass, and smallmouth, I'll work it down into 25, 30, maybe 40 foot of water sometimes. I mean, a lot of times in December, those bass in clear water will get extremely deep because there's no thermocline. So if I have clear water, the clearer the water, the deeper I fish. I'll cast it up there into maybe 5 foot of water, and I'll work it all the way out, again, into sometimes 40 foot of water or so, just depending upon the angle of the bank and how clear the water is. I'll give you a prime example. I was down at Table Rock 3 weeks ago, fishing the finesse jig on bluffs down there. Water visibility when I was down there was probably 3.5 to 4 foot of clarity in that zone there. And most of the strikes that I got were in that 15 to 25 foot zone. That's just sort of a good indication. And I've also had situations like at Table Rock in December where the water visibility was really clear, like 6 to 8 foot clarity. And I literally caught them down into 45 or 50 foot of water off those bluffs there. So it doesn't take much. When you're on a steep bank, a lot of people say, well, God, I can't believe a bass is 45 foot deep. But to a bass, you're talking about the difference between being in 15 foot of water and 45 foot of water. It may be only 20 feet, 20 or 30 feet, depending upon the angle of the bank. So it doesn't take them anything to move shallower or deeper. And I think what they do a lot of times is I think they're down there hunting for crawdads. And those crawdads will get really, really deep. So bass may be in 10 foot of water, 20, 30, 40, or 50, all in the same day. That's why you have to sort of work all different zones there. But anyway, guys, give it a try, man. Just get you a few of my jigs here. Tackle Warehouse link in the description. Get out on those steep rocky banks and bluffs. Give it a try over the next couple months. I know you guys are going to catch some good fish on them. So hope it helps out. We'll talk later.